The way I added panel line detail on this model started by printing off outline drawings of the Firefly Mk.V, which prior to printing were scaled down to match the model's size. I then used a permanent marker to mark the model where the lines should go. Once done, embossing tape and a Tamiya scriber were used to engrave the lines. For the vertical lines, a cable tie was used instead of embossing tape. Once the scribing was done, it was time to finish the painting of the cockpit. Due to the age of this model, fit issues were going to be an issue. In this case, there was a nasty gap in the wing roots. This was easily remedied with bits of 1mm sheet styrene that were glued onto the wing roots before the wings were glued onto the model. Once done, the rest of the build continued. The model was masked off for a second time, for the painting of yellow warning bands. I first spray painted the area matte white. Once dried, the first layer of Vallejo flat yellow with a drop of thinner was painted over the model. The yellow was then applied in multiple thin coats, with plenty of drying time between each coat. Once the paint was completely dry, the tape was then removed, which revealed a nice set of warning stripes. I then painted the rear birdcage canopy by first masking off and painting the vertical framework. After the paint was bone dry, this process was repeated for the painting of the horizontal framework, and with the painting completed, it was time to apply the decals. In order to recreate the markings of this, Royal Australian Navy Firefly required me to make my own decals. After generating the serial numbers in Adobe Photoshop, the numbers were printed onto clear decal paper, which after drying, 2 coats of micro-scale decal film was brushed over the DIY decal sheet. After letting the decal sheet dry out for over 24 hours, the model decals were then applied onto the model in the usual way. And with the decaling done, the rest of the model was put together. I decided to display this model aircraft on a display stand, but with a twist. The idea was to turn the display stand into a plinth for a Gate Guardian aircraft, thereby creating a scale model Gate Guardian aircraft diorama. To create this diorama, I started by modifying an old model display base. Once done, I moved on to making the display stand. This was made from a 12mm styrene tube, various sizes of styrene strips, rods and spare parts. Once made, the plinth was glued onto the base, and as for the groundwork, that was made from milliput putty. After that, it was ready for painting. After applying static grass to the diorama, the model was attached to the stand, using model cement. And with that, the model and diorama was finished. Thank you for watching this video, and good luck with all your ongoing scale modelling projects. Here it is, the completed model and diorama.